So we're both like, huddled up under this thing. I'm laying down trying to get some sleep, and it's dark. There's no light. And then, Goat Belly decides he's going to put the MRE pouch, on my face, which she didn't think, was my face. But I could feel the spoon as he's like digging the food out of the envelope. I wait about 5 minutes, and I'm like, yo, you done? Hello everybody, Terrence Pop here with another episode of Live from the Lair. Oh my lord. I just got done doing a live stream on a podcast where I was going against this one feminist lawyer. And she kept saying that, didn't know what I was talking about in regards to the stats. And I was like, okay, here we go. Trying to argue with somebody who tells you you're wrong, and then they argue with emotion. So that went off like a fart in church. All right, so I'm gonna go into some National Guard stories here. Now, these are just random ones that I probably skipped over that took place, during my time in the National Guard. And one of them, it was one of those, mid-November, missions where it was, 40 degrees ish, and we started off, it was a clear night. We knew it was going to be on the colder side because as soon as you see the clouds leave and the stars come out, it's going to be cold. It usually almost always is. And we started off at I think it was 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And, we're doing our mission, and we decided we're just going to, knock it out and get it over with quickly. So by the time we got to about 3 in the morning, we had already, done what we were supposed to do when we were heading out towards the exfil point. And the reason that is because we needed extra time because it was raining and cold, and shit always takes longer when it's raining and fucking cold. So all of the next day, we pretty much we're just walking our balls off, trying to fucking keep up, stop a few times to warm up, and then the clouds come in, and it starts to rain. It's not like a hard rain, but it's that low-level pissy rain that just fucking annoys the shit out of you. It doesn't let you dry off, and it just keeps fucking going. And we make it, I think by the next morning, 2 or 3 in the morning, we had made it within 500 meters of our exfil point. And it was about 36, 37 degrees. And it was raining, a little bit harder, but not too bad. We're all soaked, though. We're all soaked to the bone. And it's me and this one of my guys, Goat Belly. I'm like, fuck it. I put up a hooch, which is basically a rain poncho. I tied it up between 2 pine trees. And it's just enough to keep the water off of you. And we're up, up a small hill. We're looking at the map, and it looked like a good place. My buddy Gorilla Belly decides he's gonna, just rack out up, a few feet down from us against a tree. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And while he's setting his stuff up, we set up our hooch. Goat Belly decides he's gonna heat himself up some food, which is basically those MRE pouches. I think it was spaghetti. I don't remember. So we're both huddled up under this thing. I'm laying down trying to get some sleep, and it's dark. There's no light. And then, Goat Belly decides he's going to put the MRE pouch, on my face, which she didn't think, was my face. But I could feel the spoon as he's digging the food out of the envelope. And I wait about 5 minutes, and I'm like, yo, you done? And he's like, yeah, why? You go, because that's on my face. He's like, oh, sorry about that. And he used to carry this stuff in his rucksack he called jungle juice. It didn't have any alcohol in it, but he mixed it up. It was 3 or 4 different types of juices he mixed together, and we would drink that stuff all the time when we needed energy and so forth. I mean, that was his thing. So we rack out, and during the night, Gorilla Belly wakes up freezing cold. He's in his bivy bag, which is made of Gore-Tex. So he's like, oh shit, reaches in there, pulls out his poncho liner, puts it in there, warms up, An hour later, wakes up freezing cold again. He grabs his second poncho liner, pulls it into his bivy bag, warms back up. Wakes up, freezing cold again. He grabs his, field jacket liner, puts that on, gets back in his bivy bag, goes back to sleep. So in the morning when the sun comes up, and we wake up and it's, we got maybe 40 minutes until we get picked up. And I'm freezing, everyone's freezing, but Gorilla Belly was laying in a stream. What a dumbass. All his stuff was soaked to the bone. He had to put it in his rucksack, and everything weighed like an additional 20 fucking pounds. And of course, we started a fire because, cold can kill you, and we warmed up. And that's pretty much how it went down. And then that was November, so we didn't do anything that December, January, February. I think our next mission was March. Again, it's a soak and smoke mission, and I think that was a 3-day drill. We were up at Grayling, Friday night, all day Saturday, and by Sunday morning we were done. And and during that time frame, you basically got to cover, a fairly significant distance. It's basically diagonally across one of those, military maps. I think that's like 21 or 15 miles or something like that. Like 30 clicks, 35 clicks, cross country, most of it. And March, it's fairly warm, but up there in Grayling, it could be warm, but there's still snow on the ground. The snow can still be on the ground up until May. In fact, I've seen it up on the ground up there until May, sometimes even the first week of June. So, the snow had melted for the most part down to about 3 or 4 inches, in the fields and stuff. But we were walking down this one road, and it was a good 5-6 miles worth of road. But there was pine trees on the side, so the sun didn't get to the road, so it was still frozen and packed down snow. I'm not really good at walking on ice. Hell, I can barely even ice skate. So for most of Saturday, I spent the day walking either on this road or off to the side, slipping and falling and busting my ass on the fucking ice. And literally, I'd be like, "Vuh, vuh, vuh, boom!" And finally, we'd been walking all day. It was probably like 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. I took that last butt spill, fell down. And I remember I'm just sitting there, and every one of my team's just laughing their balls at me. And I'm like, "All right, we're racking out for the night right over there." It was like 50 meters off the fucking road. I had busted my ass too many fucking times. I just wasn't going to fucking put up with that anymore. And another thing that we used to do, we're doing long movements, and a lot of times your margins are very, very slim. And you don't have a lot of time to everyone stop, pull out your fucking food and take 10, 15 minutes to eat. I mean, sometimes you just don't have that kind of time. So what I would do is I would take 1 or 2 main meals, put them in there with one of the MRE heaters, get them going, and then I would hold it in my hand, and we'd do its steaming and whatever it's going to do. And then while we're walking, I would open up one and then pour the contents into the other pouch. So it's like 2 MRE main meals in one. And I would have the spoon, and like my guys, I'd just walk up to them and while we're walking, and I'd give everyone a big mouthful of hot steaming whatever we're eating food, and it was like feeding a bunch of birds. I mean, here you go, and all off the same spoon. We're all on the same team. Fuck it, We all knew everything about each other anyway. Hell, we watched each other shit in boxes while you're in a goddamn hide site, which is basically a hole you dig in the ground, and you cover it up, and you look out of a little viewing port, and all of you and all your equipment are in this fucking hole. And I'm going to be honest, not a fan of the hides, just because of that fucking thing right there. And another thing I refused to do as a lyrist guy is I refused to bring back shit. Like part of their doctrine is you pack it in, you pack it out. And I'd be like, for the most part, I would agree with that, unless it was human feces. And then it got buried in a hole when we left. I wasn't fucking bringing that shit back, because that's just unreasonable. Not fucking doing that. That's like one of the darker sides of long-range reconnaissance that people don't talk about, because I guess there used to be some kind of mystique in there, woo, you're recon, you're elite. Yeah, you get to carry your shit back out with you, and then you're 30 to 40 some odd clicks behind enemy lines if you're in conventional warfare land, and if you get compromised, you're not getting picked up. All right, and even if you don't get compromised, they're not sending anybody to get you. They're not going to waste a high value asset to come pick up 4 to 6 fucking grunts on the ground. Nope, you're going to have to sneak your way back or die trying. And I remember I would tell that to the guys when they would come to the unit. That was the reality on the ground. And I would get 20 to 30% of the guys to be like, hey, that sounds really great, but fuck that, I'm out. But I didn't need you anyway, fine. It is what it is. But when you really boil it down, if you are in any elite unit, it doesn't mean that you are any more special than anyone else. Technically, I guess you could say that. But what they really mean is you are the top tier of expendability. They will sacrifice your ass in a New York fucking minute. That's just the way it is. Same thing with the special forces. You're an A-team. They send you into a country to, either foreign internal defense, or, on the other side is you support guerrilla forces. There really isn't a solid plan to go in there and get you. There isn't. There's a time frame where it may or may not happen. If it's a foreign internal defense mission and the host government turns ugly against you, all bets are off. Maybe you'll get out, maybe you won't. That's just the way it is. The same thing with the Rangers. All right, when I was an airborne ranger, you're the tip of the spear. All right, you get to the cutting edge of battle before anyone else. The Rangers are on the ground roughly 18 hours to 24 hours before the 82nd even gets there. And the Marines, if there's a Marine unit off the coast, maybe that's one thing, but anywhere else, forget about it. It's not going to happen. And if it was explained to me by a retired colonel who was in the old Russian army, and they would war game against U.S. forces quite a bit. And the way he explained it to me was if a battalion of airborne rangers all of a sudden decided they're going to jump in anywhere where the Soviet army used to be, that it was pretty much in their doctrine that they were willing to zero out an entire division of dudes to take care of a battalion. That's 10 to 1. That is how much respect the Cold War Russian army gave airborne rangers. They were so respected and feared that it was worth it to the Russians to basically zero out an entire division of dudes. And, Rangers jump in with anti-tank weapons and all kinds of crazy whiz-bang stuff. So, heavy infantry, mechanized infantry, even armor would not really do that well. Just saying. Maybe the armor would do better, but still it would be ugly. And that's just the way it was. So, you're expendable. So any of you guys out there who want to go to Hua land and do the elite, high speed, low drag shit, just keep that one truth in the back of your mind, that with the responsibility of being an elite soldier comes the disposability of being expendable. All right? That's just the way it is. You figure you take a company of airborne infantry and you get them grinded up in some goddamn operation, there'll be some flack. But it's not the same as if you zero out an entire division of U.S. forces. You know, that's going to be a big, you know, hooty-doo. Who gives a fuck about a company of guys? It's like 100 dudes. You know, the United States will grind up 100 dudes like a pencil and a sharpener. It's nothing. Well, that's just my opinion on the whole damn thing. So anyway, I'm at 15 minutes. I think I'm going to cut this one short. You know, kind of in a bad mood. But on the good side, you know, I'm like this close to closing on a new house. So I'll have a new Lair, you know, and hopefully it'll turn out good. I'll let you guys know. I'll talk to you later.